guess I can say there's definitely been times where I thought like I wasn't going to get through this situation. And honestly, all that's like the biggest part that's helped is time. And I like didn't think it would get better. And then like I just gave it time and like just trusted that in time that it will get better. And eventually it definitely did.
There's definitely been quite a few things that I bounced back from things that have felt impossible, but it really, really helps to have something to look forward to every day and knowing like when there's warning signs.
We live in a society where it's like framed for you to want to do everything and be more than you are. And maybe like you deny your own interests and what you actually want to do because someone else is doing something else that you feel like you should be doing. This is the true story of teens.
Brave enough to drop the mask
and get real about mental health.
Teens struggle more than we see, and a voice carries the power of change.
Life as a teen can be hard, and sharing really helps.
You're listening to Teen Voices on The Endurance Show,
a space where teens share real struggles, real stories, and real growth. Real teens, real talk,
no scripts,
and no filters.
This is Teen Voices.
This is Teen Voices.
This is Teen Voices. Hi, welcome back to Teen Voices on the Endurance Show, and we're going to talk about anxiety and peer-to-peer mental health conversations. Starting off, what helps you reset when life feels overwhelming, and can you share a strategy that you personally rely on?
I feel when I get overwhelmed and kind of stressed out, I find like things that have helped in the past for me, almost like listening to music or honestly just sitting with myself in quiet with just my thoughts, trying not to like completely overthink, I guess. But honestly, those are probably the best strategies I've used, but there's many different strategies that you can find that work the best with yourself, I feel like.
Totally. I think something that helps me reset is definitely taking a walk, being like mindful of my surroundings, listening to music. I like to like listen to music either that's like calming or like something more hype, because like I think like for me, music influences my mood a lot.
100%.
And I really like to kind of like boost up myself, especially when things are feeling overwhelming, and just like making things calm and simple, like just taking a walk.
I think like letting go of my emotions really helps me. Like writing about it helps me face it and work through it, and just like talking to people too.
Yeah.
Especially like my friends, my sister, like I'll just vent about stuff, and it helps really like release that overwhelm so it doesn't build up to be like anxiety or anything
Totally.
like worse.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think it's very important if you have someone like important enough there, or someone that you trust. I think that's also a very good way to relieve stress, because getting out those thoughts, getting out those like things you've been thinking about can just like relieve a ton of pressure, I feel like. And it's honestly helped me a lot, even with just talking to my parents or just anything, or writing. Any way of just relieving those thoughts definitely relieves the stress as well.
Yeah, I think talking to someone and taking that weight off of you is incredibly important,
Yeah.
especially when you're dealing with something that's like super heavy. Like getting it out there and getting it off your chest is super helpful.
For sure.
Yeah.
because it's very hard to control things, because everything like you're feeling feels so much bigger than you.
Yep.
And that you don't have any like control over it, and then you're subject to like your emotions leading you. But like retaking that control and like facing your emotions rather than avoiding them, which is like a habit that I've personally relied on like a little too much in the past.
Yeah.
And that's led to like unhealthy buildups of emotions. And like we were talking about, like bottling stuff up is actually probably the worst thing you could do when you're facing like a strong emotion. Like instead reclaiming that emotion.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so how do you support friends who are struggling, and why is that so important?
I think one good way to support friends who are struggling is honestly as simple as it is, just talking to them, and like we were saying earlier, just like letting them get their thoughts and what's on their mind out, because I think that's like the biggest part that'll help them. And I think this is important because you guys are all like we're all friends. That's what friends are there for. Like I think friends are there to support and lift people up. And that's probably the main goal of my friendships, I would say.
Yeah, I like to, like, as I was kind of saying in like another episode, I really like to give them time and attention. I think just like those simple things can be so helpful and really valuable in a relationship, especially friendships, because it just shows you, like, it shows them that you're there and you're caring about them. I think it's really important because that's also like what keeps relationships going and friendships like getting stronger, even if it's in like small moments where they're struggling or having like a tough moment or a tough day. Just being there for them can be super
Exactly. Just
important.
being there to listen, honestly.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
as simple as
Yep.
it can be, but yeah,
Hmm.
it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And like checking in from time to time, like again, like consistently, like not just right after something happened, but like making sure to keep that up, because opening yourself up as a resource for the people around you
Yeah.
is like a great way that you can be an effective friend, because it's not up to you to shoulder everything your friend is going through.
Yep.
That creates like a toxic sort of dependency. Instead, the best way to help them is like listening, showing that you're a safe space for them, especially, and also just being very open to what they have to say. Like, you're not there to fix their problems for them. You're someone that's like a safe space for them to just talk about something.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's super important. I love how you worded that.
Yeah. Kind of just like a shoulder to be there for them to like lie
Yeah.
on, I guess,
Yeah.
metaphorically.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, as long as you're not too like intrusive into their like situation, I guess, like as long as they're willing to talk about it and want to talk about it, then I think it's definitely good to be there for
Yeah.
a friend like that.
And just like
Yeah.
leave that space open for them.
exactly,
Mhm.
Yeah.
exactly.
Have you ever bounced back from something that felt impossible, and how did you do it?
Yeah, there's for me, I guess I can say there's definitely been times where I thought like I wasn't gonna get through this situation. And honestly, all that's like the biggest part that's helped is time. And I like didn't think it would get better. And then like I just gave it time and like just trusted that in time that it will get better. And eventually it definitely did.
Yeah, I think there's definitely been quite a few things that I bounced back from, things that have felt impossible. When I was like struggling with my eating disorder, when I lost my dad, and then when I attempted, was definitely they were all definitely things that I felt like I'm never gonna get through them. But it really, really helps to have something to look forward to every day. Like for me, distraction has been the most important thing. Keeping up with friends, making sure I'm busy, and just like taking care of myself as well. And knowing like when there's warning signs and knowing when it's like, okay, I do need someone around right now, and I need to be honest with myself about that.
I think in facing my anxiety, I've definitely been able to find like more effective coping strategies. Like, I'm able to turn to reading, writing.
Yep.
I really want to work on making running something that's like helpful for me before, because exercise is something that can like really like relieve your mind. It can like physically change your stress
Yep.
into something more effective. But when I had like stress about my exercise, it made like a very toxic cycle, because if I would avoid running, then I would be more stressed out. But if I had to run the next day, then I would be super stressed out and I would get horrible sleep because I
Yeah.
was like anticipating that. So I think that some of the strategies that I would use is to take off all of the pressure associated with it. Like, instead of telling myself, okay, you're going to run like 40 minutes today, you can
Yeah.
say, you're going to run whatever you feel like running.
Yep.
Like, you don't even have to go fast. Like,
Mhm.
I always tell myself, like, I work on the time instead of the pace, because I feel like if I expect myself to be going at a faster pace, then I'm not going to be able to do it or keep it up.
For
So I
sure.
just say, like, this entire time you're running. And even if you only go out and run a single lap today, then that's better than not having ran that lap.
That's still an accomplishment.
I love that
Yeah.
mindset. Yeah, that's very, very healthy, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think having like super high standards for yourself can be really challenging, because when you don't meet those standards, you're disappointed.
Exactly.
And like when you just like set up, whereas like I'm just going to try something today. And if it goes well, that's okay. And if it doesn't, that's also okay. Like
Yeah.
leaving space for yourself.
Yeah, I think that mindset's very important because it leaves, exactly like you said, space for yourself.
Yeah.
So like if it doesn't go exactly as you plan, you're not like all bummed out about it.
Exactly.
And like
Yep.
you didn't have as high of expectations or any expectations at all, but
Yeah.
you still did it. So
Like set yourself up for success and not failure.
exactly.
What advice would you give another teen about handling stress or anxiety, and what would you want them to remember?
I think I would tell another teen to reach out to people, that you're not alone in struggling with things, that you're not alone in struggling with anxiety or stress. It's definitely something that can weigh on you and can be overbearing, and it can feel shameful because it's like, why can't I handle this and everyone else can? And like constantly thinking about how other people are doing it and that you aren't doing it. But it's actually like everyone's kind of stuck in that loop. And like so many people go through that mindset where they're thinking about other people where they're also struggling too. It's like they could do it, but they also are struggling. So definitely reaching out for help. And I would want them to remember that they're going to get out of this. They're going to find ways that are going to help them. They're going to find ways that help them cope with everyday life, that help them cope with anxiety, like about school, college, honestly, anything, that there's going to be a way out.
Yeah, kind of going back to what you were saying about the comparison part, I like to think of this, like, I guess saying a lot, like comparison is the thief of joy. Because if you're constantly comparing yourself to like how others are doing, then you're never going to find joy or happiness from yourself. So I think you should just focus on your own improvements and the own things that you love, like the things that genuinely like stem from your heart, and focus on those as much as possible. And I feel like that's a good way to find and bring joy into your life, and just focusing on yourself more than others.
And
times.
for like comparisons to like other people, we live in a society where it's like framed for you to want to do everything and be more than you are, and maybe like you deny your own interests and what you actually want to do because someone else is doing something else that you feel like you should be doing. So every person is built different, and everyone has their own strength that they will be able to find and nourish. And I just think it's so important to lean into that rather than focus on everything outside of you that you can't control. All the people like that are achieving stuff. Like I've at times been that friend where I hear what my other friends are accomplishing, and I'm like jealous and envious of them. And I wish I could be them instead of me. And it just puts it into a perspective where I'm never satisfied with myself, and I never feel like I'm enough. And taking away from that mindset and instead valuing the traits that I have, that I'm sure there are other people like around me, they're like, oh, I wish I had this that you had.
Absolutely.
Like,
yes.
Everyone is built different with their own skill sets. And instead of trying to be someone else, embrace what you have already.
Exactly.
And that can help like manage the overwhelming need to fit in or like be more, do more.
Absolutely.
Because you can only do as much as you can do.
The capacity that you have.
And kind of going on off from that, I guess you also try new things. There's always new things out there for you to try, and you never know. You can find something that you're great at, find something that you're not so great at, but it's like you never know until you try those things. So I think just experiencing that and like going out there is the first step and the most important part. So
I agree. Yeah. Super powerful.
Have you ever helped a friend when they were struggling, and how did it feel?
I would say yes, actually pretty recently. My friend was going through maybe a tough time with his girlfriend because with college and everything, people are leaving. And I think it felt like almost relieving for me, like, because it felt almost like when I was talking to him, like I have been in that like very similar situation. So I felt I could give a thing or two or like some tips on like how I handled it and how I got through it over time. And it honestly, like at the very end of the conversation, it felt like it made me feel like warm inside, even though like that like may not have been like how he was feeling at the end. Like I feel like I was able to give a good piece of advice to him and help him handle the situation instead of just like being alone and kind of experiencing it through himself. And I don't know, it made me feel like a good use.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think like when I help like out a friend that's struggling, it like makes me feel wanted and valuable. Like innately everyone is valuable. But I think being there for someone else kind of like shows like how you can be there for yourself as well. Um yeah, it's like however you care about a friend is like how you should care for yourself.
Mhm.
Any like time and attention that you give them, you should give to yourself. Um yeah, I think like when my friend was struggling um with different sports and struggling to pick one or the other, whereas she loved one but her dad really wanted her to do another. And it was really tough, but she ended up like finding a way to do both, and I was like really proud of her cuz she was able to get like what she wanted and then also satisfy like what her parents wanted. And I think that's also something friends really like, at least my friends really struggle with, like parents' views and like what they want,
Yeah.
and like trying to satisfy their standards as well as trying to satisfy like your own.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a very empathetic person. So a lot of my friends like turn to me when they want to vent about something because they know I'm going to listen. I'm not going to judge any of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the role that I take when I help. Like people come to me not because they actually want me to find a solution for their problem or like tell them how to fix it. It's because they want me to listen and they know that I will. And I
Yeah.
very much pride myself on that because I feel like that's a trait that everyone can take with them.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
to listen non-judgmentally, to have a person to you can go to and talk about stuff and talk like below the surface conversations like in your
Yes.
life. Like I have certain people that I can go to for that, which is like
Absolutely.
very helpful for me. Like I know who my safe spaces are. I know who to turn to when I'm struggling, and just building those people around you, making sure you check the quality over quantity of your friends. I know especially like I'm in high school, a lot of people have been trying to be more popular. Like you
Yeah.
want more people around you, want to be more well known. But at the end of the day, maybe only a few of those people, if any, like really cares about you and really
Yeah.
knows you at a deeper level. They all know some like external part of you, but I think there's a lot of value in finding people that you can actually like genuinely have real
Yeah.
conversations
Yes.
with.
That's very
Yeah.
important,
I
I feel
think
as well.
yeah, like authentic friendships are so
Mhm.
much more important than surface level
Yes.
ones.
And what's one thing that always cheers you up and why?
One thing that always cheers me up, I would say, is just being with friends, being with people that I love. Because honestly, like I could maybe be feeling down or any other emotions, and just like going out with my friends and just being with them, like almost just not distracts me, but just like gives me something else to focus on and something else to laugh about instead of just being all built up in like my own feelings. And I think that's probably one of the best ways to help cheer me up. That or music. Two
Yeah,
very powerful.
definitely I can relate to music and friends. Yeah, I think like when I'm like having a tough time, like I think just like letting myself feel them first and then like going to cheer myself up is really helpful. Like I think calling a friend or just like doing something interactive is
Mhm.
really fun. And yeah, it can be distractive, but it can be a distraction or it can be like helpful in a way as well, because like it's like teaching you to like also let other people in when you're struggling.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. I think for me, like reading and writing have always been
Yes.
like strong points in my life that like I feel safe in. Like I can find comfort in rereading like stories like again and again and again because I know the characters, I know the
Yeah,
plot,
it's like
I
that
know how it's
safety.
gonna like end up.
Mhm.
It's like a comfort. It's something to rely on. And like branching out more is like something that I've also been like working at
Yeah.
with like reading and everything because we find such safety in what's familiar that sometimes it's like too easy to just stay there in that comfortable space instead of stepping outside of your comfort zone. But I think that it's good to have that thing you can return to cheer you up, but not to stay in forever.
Yes. I think that's a very, very strong point. Like stepping out of that comfort zone when you
Mhm.
think the time is right and when you want to like experience those growth moments. But like it's always good to have to be able to fall back into the comfort zone
Mhm.
and be able to have both of those to choose from, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My therapist also like was talking about like kind of like like going back to your roots, where it's like you're doing like fun like childhood activities, like drawing with chalk or like blowing bubbles. Like for me that's been like really fun. And
That's
just like
great.
it's just like so like small, but it's also like so like it makes me so happy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
big like inside. I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It
That's
doesn't have to
amazing.
be this like big substantial thing. It's whatever
Yes,
like brings
exactly.
you value, whatever like helps
Exactly,
you.
yep.
And it's
Mhm.
different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for watching the Endurance Show.
Thank
Thank
you guys.
you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Endurance Show. If this conversation moved you, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. To view the conversations, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And to be a part of the community, follow us at Endurance Movement. And lastly, if you feel called to support the movement and help us ensure no teen ever feels alone again, visit endurancemovement.org to learn more, and if you can, make a donation. Together we can create lasting change, one conversation, one connection at a time.